I was this guy who was grinding, moving, doing a lot of things, working for other people. And I really was looking for more community. I played college football freshman year. I shifted out of that into rugby, helped lead our team to a state championship, went on to nationals, and then continuing through. And then after undergrad, didn't really have that. I don't know if I ever would have gotten out of that grind, actually, because I was just constantly chasing that financial and keeping the schedule. How I build that is in the gym with different challenges, stressing the body to physically strengthen myself so I can handle, training your eye to locate those opportunities and then diving in so you essentially become that overnight success. And make sure that you're in it, whatever season it is, you are dedicated to that. Like, let's just take the first one with the resilience. How do I have enough energy? Am I going to make it through the rest of this season? That's really going to kind of depend. Like, okay, so what is your capacity? How often do you challenge yourself? Say somebody's just started working with me, they come in, we kind of going through the principles. We build up a little bit of a routine to build ourselves, push our comfort zone, and we get into our inputs with that intentional consumption. We're fueling ourselves with motivational content and great food, get to that clarity.
Hey family, this is the Thriveward journey. Look, life's too short to just get by, and 2025 is the year to persist. We're here to grow, build, and thrive. This podcast is all about powerful stories, real talk, and practical steps to help you level up in every area of your life. Now, if that sounds like something you need, don't just watch, be a part of the journey. Let us know you're here. Do us a favor. If you're listening on the podcast platform, download the episode. And if you're watching on YouTube, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode. And as we always say, let's make thriving our new norm.
Yeah. Beat up, bullied, and dunked on. Beat up, bullied, and dunked on. Bullied and dunked on. Yeah. Let's get it.
Welcome to the Thriveward journey. Today, we're thrilled to have Tracz, an inspiring coach and speaker who specializes in helping entrepreneurs break free from stagnation and achieve holistic success. As a founder of Prime Performance Coaching, Rob empowers his clients to look good, feel good, and do great things by integrating physical, mental, and emotional strategies that foster resilience, clarity, and peak performance, with his focus on cultivating self-awareness and preventing burnout. Rob equips entrepreneurs to elevate both their personal lives and businesses. So get ready for an episode packed with actionable insights and transformative strategies to help you, me, us thrive in every aspect of our lives. Rob, what's up, man?
Hey, man, dude, thank you for that intro. I'm amped to be here, very excited, and appreciate you taking the time to introduce me to your audience and having me on. I'm excited to share.
Absolutely. And I'm glad, I know we talked a little bit before, but I know we talked briefly, trying to get things together, but I'm glad you're here because as myself and Yvonne try to, we did some research and everything. I was like, man, he's perfect for the show and for the audience. And so it's really great to just have you on because you're really in line with what we're all about.
Awesome. Love that.
So cool. So just to kind of get things going, what are you all about? What's your mission?
Yeah. I guess me personally, like me, myself, my mission is to just create together with other people, specifically entrepreneurs, because that's who I used to be. I was this guy who was grinding, moving, doing a lot of things, working for other people. And I really was looking for more community from a family, parents divorced when I was at a young age. I was always kind of seeking attention from different parents. And then that led into sports, and sports became like my new family. And that led and bred adversity and challenges and working together towards a common goal. So my whole life has been working together with others to kind of grow and build more. That's where I find myself now as I've kind of shifted out of the strength and conditioning world and now into the high performance industry, still looking and connecting and creating opportunities for other entrepreneurs who are maybe in the earlier stages. That sense of community, that camaraderie where you can kind of lean on a safe environment to discuss problems and issues that you've got going on and really grow together and achieve great things. And like the tagline that I try to live by is look good, feel good, and do great things. And that's essentially what I try to do with other individuals.
Yeah, that sounds great, man, because I know that, as an entrepreneur, as an athlete, for me, performance in those different areas go hand in hand. And what inspired you to pursue a career in helping entrepreneurs overcome, stagnation and burnout and build healthiness, if that's a word, in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, great question. Because I was there, I was in that situation, as I kind of led to a little earlier, and I hinted at my background. Grew up with sports, college came around, played college football freshman year. I shifted out of that into rugby, helped lead our team to a state championship, went on to nationals, and then continuing through. And then after undergrad, didn't really have that team or that family aspect. And so it made it easy for me to just get into coaching. I studied kinesiology as for undergrad, which is the study of human movement. And from there, I went on to grad school, exercise science. So my career path was just strength and conditioning, helping people in the gym, athletes specifically, build and work towards becoming best versions of themselves so they could play at the highest level possible on the field and achieve the common goal of championships and things like that. And in that industry or that career path, typically people take two different routes. You either go into the private sector or you get into the collegiate and try to get into the professionals down the road. I chose to go the private sector, which gave me my first taste of entrepreneurship. It really allowed me to have the freedom to create my own schedule, to work with whoever I wanted to, work as many hours as I wanted to. And that made it really easy for me to quickly scale up my book of clients. I got to the point where I was working 12 to 15-hour days, 7 days a week for about 3 years. And that was great because I was making a lot of money and I was wearing that badge of honor, like, oh, I'm so busy. I got work, I got work, I got work. But eventually that led to some downfall. People stopped asking me to hang out. My relationship with the girl I was dating at the time fell apart, skipping holidays with the family so I could work with clients. And it got to the point where my dad actually got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And that came on quick. I still have the voicemail for when he called me. He's like, Rob, there's something serious I got to talk to you about. And from that voicemail, about 4 weeks later, he ended up passing away. And instead of spending time with him, I was continuing to work with my clients, and I would drive 3.5 hours down to Philadelphia to be by his side at bed at nighttime. Then I would drive back up to Connecticut, work all day, and then drive back down, just praying that he wouldn't pass away while I was away. And I did it for about a week. Luckily and thankfully, I was there when he had passed, and it was a nice, peaceful situation for him. But I then buried myself in that schedule, went right back to work for about another year until my schedule it became a distraction. And then when I was denied that distraction, it was like a holiday weekend or something, that allowed some time for me to reflect. And then upon that reflection, I realized this isn't who I am. I'm not a pretty social guy. I like to connect with other individuals, but all I'm doing is living, breathing, and sleeping this grind. And I call that the robot mode. And robot mode isn't necessarily bad. It can be good because robots are efficient. They get work done that they need to.
Yeah.
The problem is you lack the awareness. You lose that human component of yourself. And I was stuck in robot mode. And from that day, that little bit of reflection brought me back to what's helped me be successful in the past. What has helped me kind of get to where I consider success. And that was the birth of my prime performance coaching. And that's what I'm trying to do, is help other entrepreneurs, prevent them from being stuck in that robot mode. Stop ramming against the wall and really take a step back, bring some awareness to your game, and then elevate whatever it is you're working on.
Going back just a little bit, I know you said that, after your father passed away, I'm sorry to hear about that.
Thank you.
You buried yourself into work. And I think a lot of people, and I'll just speak for myself, that I think that is a thing that we go to, or I go to, just to kind of drown out some other things that, that may be affecting me, or the things I just don't want to just acknowledge or deal with. How does you got out of that? And what took you out of that space to get you from, burying your head into work to moving into, a healthier way of building your business and getting to prime coaching?
So like I said, I was stuck in that robot mode because it was like, I didn't even tell anybody my dad was sick. I didn't even tell anybody that I was going down driving to Philadelphia until he had passed away. I took in 2 days off that year, the day he passed and then the day of his funeral. And it was so sudden that day, so I had to get somebody to cover my clients. And then that's when I shared. But then when I came back, I went right back to the work. And I don't know if I ever would have gotten out of that grind, actually, because I was just constantly chasing that financial and keeping the schedule. At first, originally I want to make X amount of money. And then when my dad passed, it was I need to maintain this full schedule.
Right.
Because that was the distraction for me, because I'm always in the gym. I'm thinking about other things. I don't need to reflect on what's going on and what's happening outside of the gym. And this one holiday weekend, a lot of my clients were traveling. A lot of people were away. And I'm sitting in my apartment Friday night when I'm usually out with friends, going to dinner, doing different things, but I'm alone in my apartment, frantically scouring through my cell phone, looking for any clients who are around, like almost as if it was like a dating app. I'm just like swiping through, like boom, 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 boom. Can you train? Can you train? Can you train? And everybody was away. So I had Saturday off. So then I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm just kind of sitting around. And then I realized, like, this is a Friday night. I used to go out on Fridays, used to have fun with family and friends. And that little bit of reflection led into, what am I doing? Is this what I want to be doing? Am I happy? Like I'm making all this money, but I don't even have time to go spend any of it. Like I can't do anything. And then that really came crashing down into like, hey, I need to change something. I need to start setting some boundaries. I need to figure out what it is I want to be doing. What kind of life do I want to be living? And I was starting to get mentally fatigued. Like you can only teach squat patterns and hinge patterns so many times until you start going a little bit crazy. It's a lot of same repetitive type things. But that little bit of reflection and awareness really led into, okay, let me revisit what's been successful. I've always treated fitness and physical activity and mental toughness, and then getting into my nutrition, intentional consumption, and then moving into mindset and optimization of my rules and routines, and then bleeding into some of my social skills and communication tactics, and then also how to create your own lucks. And that really became the blueprint for my prime coaching. And that was the early stages of transitioning out of strength and conditioning.
Okay. I'll just edit that out. We got to your point, but I'll edit that out. So we'll figure that out.
Sure.
All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should just kind of keep going or what.
Yeah, no, you did perfect. And I'll fix it. This is the first time that it happened, so I do apologize. All right.
No worries.
Let's just pick that up from where we are. All right. So can you actually explain the core principles that you were talking about? Resilience, intentionality, clarity, optimization, networking, and luck creation.
Yeah. So those are the 6 principles of my coaching program, kicking it off with that resilience. And to me, resilience is important for entrepreneurships because there are a lot of times where you're going to be stressed and you're going to be put into situations and it's going to be hard. Everybody knows that it's going to be hard. That's kind of what you sign up for. And you're hoping for the good times, which you also have to be prepared for as well, because you're going to have great months, you're going to have great weeks, you're going to have monster days where you do make a ton of money and you are amped. But you have to have that resilience and that awareness to not just go out and make giant purchases out of nowhere. You got to have a level head. You got to have that being able to ground yourself to a level base. And for me, how I build that is in the gym with different challenges, stressing the body to physically strengthen myself so I can handle the early mornings, the late nights, whatever kind of comes at me physically, but then also cognitively and emotionally too. So challenging myself with new habits, new skills. So I'm always constantly refining and getting sharper because there are going to be a lot of problems. Success is directly correlated with the amount of problems that you can solve. So the more problems that you can solve, the bigger and harder problems are going to start to show up. And you need to be able to have that level-headedness and that resourcefulness and problem-solving skills. And you build that through the resilience. And you build the resilience through consistently challenging yourself, both cognitively and physically, is the route that I go.
Is that in a way, your example of holistic success?
Kind of. So that's only one part. So that was just like the first principle. And then the other ones of intentional consumption, about the foods that you're eating to help energize and motivate yourself, but then also the digital nutrition too. So the kind of books, are you listening to great podcasts like this one? Are you listening to good music that motivates and inspires you? Or are you listening and absorbing a lot of content that kind of slows you down or just turns your brain off? You want to also make sure that you're fueling yourself and with educational, motivational kind of content as well. And that's kind of like the first phase of that whole look good is what I kind of have in mind. So you've got your resilience and your intentional consumption. You got that down, you're moving well, and you're confident and you're strong with the things you're doing. Then we get into feeling good. And to feeling good, you've really got to know where you're at and where you're going, because having a sense of direction and clarity is going to help make the process a lot smoother.
Yeah.
And then once you've refined that and figured out exactly where you're going, it's time to optimize and increase efficiency. We do that by looking at your rules and your routines, your schedule, your habits, your different things like this, because that locks in that feel good because you've got the direction and you're moving smoothly now. So you've got your look good with the resilience and intentional consumption. You've got the feel good with the clarity and the optimization. And that unlocks the final part, which is doing great things. And in order to do great things, you need to be surrounded with great people. So the first part of that is the communication and the social, looking at who are your mentors, who are the coaches that you're learning from, who are the captains that you can lean on, and who is the crowd that's kind of motivating and helping you around. So doing an audit on your social network. And then also looking at your social skills. You have one to many. Can you communicate from stage or to an audience? And then also, how can you communicate one-on-one at like networking events and sales calls and one-to-one with clients and such? Because that's important because like the idea of the lone wolf is awesome, but the truth of the matter is that it takes a village to build anything, whether you're raising a child or building a business. Like you can't do it. You can only reach so far by yourself. If you're looking to go further, you need to go together with everybody else. And then once you've got that all down, it kind of unlocks the last level, which is creating your own luck, where we kind of dive into preparation of getting everything squared up and then opening your eyes to where the opportunity is, because there's so much opportunity. There's so much money in the world. And people turn a blind eye to it because they're so fixed and struggling with certain issues and challenges. But there's so many opportunities around us. So once you've got the prep down, it's about training your eye to locate those opportunities and then diving in so you essentially become that overnight success. Like I think that's the funniest thing ever, because there's no such thing as an overnight success, but to the outsiders, you look like, oh, damn, that guy just blew up overnight. Like, oh, I remember him just training in the gym, and all of a sudden now he's like traveling around, flying all over the place, talking on stages left and right.
There's so much grind that goes into the overnight success, or 10 years of whatever that you don't see, and then boom, you reach a level where people see you and they think it's an overnight success. I know for me, let's go back to the preparation and opportunity. I remember I was probably like 20 young 20 something, and I got a cool job with the government, and I was a program coordinator for a health and human division and in Georgia. And I came up, I was doing research on how to create a program for young kids and all this kind of stuff. And I got somewhere along the line, I got the saying of preparation meeting opportunity creates luck. You know what I mean? And thing like that, right? So I actually put that, started using that. And my director was like, I don't understand what that means. That's crazy. What does that mean? And it was so funny to me that she didn't get that. And I was so young that I let her not getting it impress me on not putting that out for the younger generation. And now later in life, I get that when you're really preparing yourself for whatever it is that you're doing, and you say having the eye for the opportunity, that does create the luck. And then that's what people see, it's like the iceberg under the water. Like you're doing all this work and then you see the top 20% of the 80% of the work that you did. And it was just amazing to me how that saying it's a real thing. But back then I came across it and I got talked out of sharing that knowledge. So
well, back then, and like competition was like the major thing. It was, at least for me, I saw like even different gyms and different businesses that I was working in, it was always like, oh, we gotta like crush this person, gotta crush that person. And you want to do better. You want to do better for your own business and you want to be successful. But like nowhere does it say that you have to crush somebody else and like you can't have success if somebody else is having success. And when that kind of clicked in my head, that opened up the opportunities like left and right. Like as a personal trainer, like I have a couple clients who are building their personal training businesses, and they're so like, oh, I can't like go there because so and so goes to these events and blah blah blah, and their clients are there, and I'm like, dude, like it's something for everyone. Like you should be partnering with your like competitors. I heard the saying that like don't call them competitors, call them your niche neighbors or niche neighbors, because you can work with them. Like if I'm a personal trainer and I know what makes me uniquely different from others, like say I'm like the squat guy or I'm the bench press guy, you partner up with somebody else who's like a little bit better in nutrition, you can do like a 30, 60, 90-day challenge with that other person. And then you can cross-pollinate each other's audiences. So yeah, you might have somebody in your audience who's kind of hesitant about jumping in with you, and they might jump on with whoever you're partnering with, but the same might go the other way. And the way to remove that anxiety about losing people is just continue to show up as the best version of you, because people who are going to like you the most are going to flow to you, and vice versa. So like, you don't want to be working with people that aren't the right fit for you. You want to be connected with the people that are perfect for you.
Yeah. It's not where you have to always be crushing, like you said, crushing on the competition, because like you said, there's room for everybody. There's enough
Yeah.
money in this world for everybody. You know, not everybody's going to be a multi-billionaire or a billionaire or whatever, but for whatever our purpose and our path is, it's going to be perfect for what we accrue through our life. And as an entrepreneur, you know, or let's talk about beginning entrepreneurs when they're trying to crush it, or you know, see opportunity, or not opportunities, but you know, someone who's the competition. Sometimes we find like we have to work really hard in order to get to that next level, and there's burnout there. How do you address that situation?
Yeah, burnout is multifaceted and comes in a bunch of different ways. But there are a lot of signs and symptoms that you can kind of detect when it is starting to arise. And the best way for me specifically, and it seemed to have worked for a good amount of my clients, is dividing yourself up into different seasons and setting boundaries on those seasons. You got to set a clear starting line and a clear finish line, and make sure that you're in it, whatever season it is, you are dedicated to that. So, for example, kind of turning into a more creative season at the moment, because I'm kind of on the tail end of a very active season with a bunch of different projects, teaching workshops and group coaching and some speaker schools and workshops and such. So after this season, come April, I'm going to shift into an off season where I'm going to deliberately be taking some downtime to spend time on restructuring my schedule, looking at my availability, and spending time with my girlfriend and some more friends, and making sure that I embrace that downtime. Because I know after that off season, I'm going right back into a sprint season, and it's going to be another grind of marketing and sales and things like that. So when I know where those finish lines are, that helps me, because then I can plan and adjust how I need to go through, because you are going to need to grind. You might go through a little bit of a burnout in certain periods and times. And that's where the awareness comes into play, and really understanding what it is you can handle. Because if your finish date for whatever season you're in is the end of January, and it's January 15th, and you've been already grinding for 6 weeks, you know you're going to need to grind these next 2 weeks or so. You got to push through. And so you're going to have longer days. You're going to have to maybe be moody or stressed or whatever it is, but you got to push and cut it off at the end and transition into the other season. And then allow yourself to regenerate and refresh and restart, and brainstorm in a little creative season and take some time off. So I think the awareness is really how we cut off that burnout in advance.
I like the way that you talked about seasons. You know, in my head, you could identify seasons as quarters, maybe, or what have you. How do you identify seasons?
Yeah, I typically go like each quarter of the year. I kind of have different things going in. End of last year, I kind of branched it. I was shifted this year to kind of make it a little more aligned, but I'm still finishing up one of my last ones. So I booked a bunch of different things for this month and then into next month. And then March kind of finishes one of my last ones. But so I'm kind of tricky juggling like two different seasons at the moment, but I have those deadlines in place, so I'm carving in some extra downtime.
What's up, Thrival Journey listeners and watchers? Look, if you're someone with big dreams of entrepreneurship but need a flexible way to earn income while building your business, let me tell you about the Orions Group. Through our partnership with Arise Virtual Solutions, you can become a customer support professional, aka CSP, and start earning from home on your own terms. Arise offers a streamlined certification process, getting you trained and ready to work with well-known brands all across America. You can set your own hours, choose the clients you want to work with, and create a work-life balance that fits your entrepreneurial goals. The best part, you don't have to choose between your side gig and your business dreams. Being a CSP with the Orions Group means you can bring in extra income while have the flexibility to focus on growing your own venture, much like I did. Whether you're looking to supplement your income or need a bridge while building your empire, this is the opportunity for you. You interested? If so, Head over to www.theoriansgroup.com to learn more about becoming a CSP with the Orions Group. Look here. Support your entrepreneurial journey while supporting the Thrival Journey podcast at the same time. All right, one more time, www.theoriansgroup.com. All right, we're done with the spot. Let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, I got a little screwed up at the end of December because it was my birthday and we were traveling for a wedding. So like I had a couple weeks where it was like, okay, I'm kind of away doing different things. So
No, it's good because I was thinking like what seasons sometimes cross over. And I know because we think in our heads, there's a certain date that we want things to end, but you never know about the outside forces and how they sometimes dictate us to go in whatever direction that we need to go into in order to fulfill on whatever it is that we need to fulfill on. But I do like when you create seasons or an impossible end date to keep your energy going. I know for me, like if something seems like it's never ending, I'll get upset or depressed or like, is this going to end or are things working? There's a lot of questions that arise in my head. So for those entrepreneurs, what do you say to them who continually have these questions like, is my business going to go to the next level? Am I going to have energy for the next day? Those are different questions that they may have for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a big theme for a lot that I do is the self-awareness, kind of checking in with yourself, figuring out, hey, how much can I handle? How far am I going? And you find the answer to those questions through the different principles. So like, let's just take the first one with the resilience. How do I have enough energy? Am I going to make it through the rest of this season? That's really going to kind of depend. Like, okay, so what is your capacity? How often do you challenge yourself? Are you putting your body through, like, are you challenging yourself in the gym? Are you challenging yourself with different things that are uncomfortable or maybe a little scary for you? Like a lot of people are afraid of public speaking. A lot of people are afraid of connecting with other individuals or trying new things. But those are all the things that kind of expand yourself. So you get a little more comfortable doing hard things. Same thing in the gym. So like, hey, do I hate running? Okay, maybe that's the time for me this next season. Maybe I should incorporate some running into my training program because it's something that's going to push my comfort zone and get me a little bit better. Or, hey, usually I work out in the afternoons. Maybe I need to switch it up to the mornings and carve a little extra time in the morning so I can wake up a little bit earlier. One thing that I was doing recently, I was kind of sitting back and I was like, hey, man, things are going pretty well. My workouts are pretty smooth. My workshops are going pretty well. I'm looking for a little bit more challenge. And the easiest thing for me was like cold showers and stuff like that. That's okay for me. But like I usually do like a warm shower and then I switch to the cold blast. And I've done ice plunges and cold plunges. But so for me, what I've recently been doing is as soon as I turn it on, I just put it right to freezing cold and I just get straight in. And it is terrible, dude. It is. But I was like, I've been comfortable with myself, so I need to be able to incite some of this discomfort. And I know it's a safe environment. It's my apartment and everything. So if it's too cold, I can always hop back out. I'm going to challenge myself. And that little bit of challenge builds that confidence and that competence. So then when you do get to those situations where you're like, oh man, I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, damn, I got another 10-hour day with 15 coaching calls and this stuff. Like I'm exhausted. Then I can remember, yeah, man, I jump into these cold showers. I'm pushing heavy weight in the gym. I'm doing this. I'm getting in front of people. I can handle this. It's just another day. Just take it one session by one session.
Yeah. Challenge yourself in the unknown to build that competence and that confidence is what I'm hearing. That's one of the things that I try to, the shot, I don't do plunges, but I do the shower thing. Man, it does invigorate me in some way. You know what I mean? Like I have to work out because if I'm constantly working, I just feel depleted. But if I'm waking up in the morning, 5:30, I go run and then I come back, if I do the shower plunge for a moment, it invigorates me to keep going and it energizes me as well. And even though sometimes I don't feel like it, I still get energized. What are the challenges that you think that entrepreneurs should do, to keep their minds fresh and keep their energy going?
Yeah. So in terms of like mind and stuff like that, I like to challenge myself in different ways. So I got the app Duolingo, trying different Spanish and such, but then also like brain games are always good, cooking, new habits. Those are all little things that you can kind of start to incorporate. But to bring some awareness to everything, some sort of like journaling practice or some kind of reflection practice. Some people enjoy meditation. Some people, for me, I like journaling. I like to write out like a little gratitude 2 or 3 things that I'm really grateful for that day. Then I do a little recap of what happened either yesterday or the weekend or last week. That just helps me kind of get everything that's been happening in my head in the past week or so and onto the computer. I like typing it out because that really forces, like, I can type pretty quickly, but even just that process of putting the words, like, it takes time for the words to develop onto the screen. And that time slows down my thought process, really allows it to absorb into my body and my brain and like what has actually happened. And then if I want to read over it again, that just reinforces understanding what happened. And then you can really find out what's going on in your life in there. Like, pay attention, or even better, just take what you're writing, throw it into ChatGPT and ask it to analyze it. Hey, how does this sound? It might be like, sounds like you're working a lot. Maybe it's time for you to shift up and take a little bit of a breather.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like, hey, dude, you've been a lazy sack. It's time for you to start getting
It's time to switch it up.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your training program. It's Prime, right? Prime coaching?
Yeah, prime performance.
Prime performance coaching. In that, you deal with stagnation. And how does an entrepreneur really deal with stagnation in their life?
Yeah, when someone's like being stagnant with their business and things, it's usually they're starting to develop a little bit of burnout. They're starting to feel like every day is kind of like a Wednesday. They're losing the excitement with clients or whatever their products are. And then so they try a couple different things. They join like a Facebook group or a coaching program, or they purchase a course. Then they start to absorb some more information. Then they start to practice doing something else, and they're trying all these different things, and the business is either staying the same or kind of starting to regress a little bit. And this is where I come in. We kind of take an audit over those 6 principles, and we kind of look for areas of improvement. So, because sometimes people are lacking communication skills, or they're lacking the confidence to go to networking events and connect with other people, or maybe even just posting that thing on social media to look for more clients. Figuring out where they're at, what they've been doing, and try to level up their weakest link while also leaning into their strongest assets so that we can continue to push that needle a little bit further. Most people, it ends up coming down to not necessarily having a strategy or a game plan, or they're lacking a little bit of communication skills, or they're lacking a little bit of confidence in certain areas. And getting around other people who are building and working themselves, and also working on yourself so you can continue to show up as a better version of yourself, bleeds in opportunity. And then coming back to what we were talking about earlier, it's figuring out where to kind of pivot or change or lean into so that your business can break free from being stuck in that spot and start to ratchet up to a new level. I mean, I'm not one of these like get rich kind of people where I'm like, hey, if you're making $2,000 a month, I'm here to help you jump up to 50,000. I'm here to work on actual habits and skills and ratchet up that approach and build day by day, working habit after habit. And I like to have fun with it too. So I like to throw in some challenges and having a creative spin on things. But at the end of the day, it's still going to require work.
Yeah, the reason why I shifted that way is because what we talked about before, which is, the cold plunges and things like that, and running. I really strongly believe from my personal experience that when I'm working out or I'm challenging myself, like you were talking about, it helps me in my business, and then I get a little more creative when I'm doing those things. And because I've been stagnant and I've had the self-doubt and I've had all that. But there's, you have to overcome all that stuff. And so what you're describing, it helps with, moving you personally, moving you forward. Therefore, your business is moving forward. Yeah. And so with all of that, how do you measure success with your clients?
Oh, that's a great one. So it really depends on that individual, because some people are looking to just kind of scale up and build to like $100 million business. Other people are just looking to kind of get to a spot where they don't have to rely on themselves to be working 24/7 with their business. They can just hire a team and buy back some of their freedom. So once, say somebody's just started working with me, they come in, we kind of going through the principles. We build up a little bit of a routine to build ourselves, push our comfort zone. Then we get into our inputs with that intentional consumption. We're fueling ourselves with motivational content and great food, get to that clarity. This is where we're like, okay, well, we've got the first couple things down. Now, where are we actually trying to get to? We know we want to be more successful, but what does that actually mean? So I run them through a little exercise I call flying your pirate flag. So I'm a big acronym person. There's a lot of acronyms in my frameworks, but I'm also a big fan of the Pirates of the Caribbean. So I came up with this acronym FLAG, FLAG, and the first letter F stands for foundational values. So we go through a little questionnaire and go back and forth asking, figuring out what are your own values? What do you hold most valuable and most important in life? And it can be uncomfortable and it can be kind of challenging because everyone's always heard of values and core values and stuff, but it's another thing to really define yours and have them for yourself. So once we kind of get that down, we move into the next letter, which is L. This one's a little more lighthearted and fun. So this one's lifestyle traits. So what are the things in your life that make you unique to you? So like, what kind of car do you like to drive? What's your favorite color? What kind of food do you like to eat? What kind of music do you listen to? And it's fun because you get to list out all the things that you like, but then you ask yourself why. Okay, so why do you like driving this kind of car? Why do you like this color? And then diving in a little bit deeper. So for example, I drive a Jeep Wrangler. I've only ever driven Jeep brand vehicles in my life. And I love my Jeep. You have one?
I had one.
Oh yeah, I love it. So it's fun. You can pop the roof off, you can take the doors off, you bigger tires, you can customize certain things, and it makes it unique. And that's how I feel. I like to kind of go at my own pace. I like to live my life with my own little style. I like to have fun. I can be rugged and tough and like off-roading kind of stuff, and I can also clean up pretty well, get the car washed, and look fresh at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it says a lot about me. And you go through a bunch of different things, and it really helps you identify different traits of yourself. You've got your values down, you've got your traits of who you are, and then we get into the A, which is your aspirations and goals. So now we kind of dig into, okay, well, we know a little bit about ourselves. Now we got to figure out where we're currently at. What do we want to get to? What is our 10-year goal? What's our 7 or 5-year goal? Our 3 1-year goal? What are we going to do for this quarter, this next month, this week, this day? We kind of lay out all those action items so that we can move forward with everything. And then the final piece is that G, which is growth opportunities. So we do a little mini abbreviated kind of SWOT analysis on ourselves to figure out what are our strengths, where are our growth opportunities. And like for me, it was technology and kind of utilizing a bunch of different platforms. So I hired a team of VAs to help me with my podcast, help me with my social media content, and kind of get those things kind of pumping out so I can continue to do things that I'm stronger at, which is going to networking events and presentations and things like that. So once you have that down, that completes the acronym, and then you can officially fly your pirate's flag with pride and know who you are.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that. I really like that, the G part. I have to remember, especially as building a business, that there are people that can do things better than me, or they like doing certain things more than I like doing them. So find those people to, help you elevate your business so that you can, as a business owner, really dive into the things that you love and that you're really great at. So I really like that. I know we talked about, luck creation a little bit. How does an entrepreneur develop that, like luck creation mindset?
Yeah. So kind of going back to that luck equals preparation and opportunity. You do the first 5 principles, or at least you're working towards them, which again is like that resilience, pushing your comfort zone, building that confidence. Number 2 is that intentional consumption. So you're eating well, you're fueling yourself with positive nutrients. You're clear. So number 3, you're clear on your direction, where you're going. Number 4, you're optimized with your rules and routines, your schedule, your habits, those things. And number 5 is you've got your support system, your social skills hammered down tight, and you're out there making moves and having great conversations. You get all that stuff done. You've got that preparation portion of the equation done. So now it's that, where do we find opportunities? And you have opportunities all around you. As we kind of talked about earlier with 2 competing personal trainers, they could work together as a low ticket opportunity to get way more people from both audiences together. Then in there, you just deliver a great product, you deliver your service, whatever it may be, and you put your spin on it and you show up as the best version of yourself. Yeah. And that's an opportunity right there for you to connect with people. Or if you're in like a product or something, I started a dietary supplement line about 7 years ago. Who can I connect with? What kind of smoothie shops are around? Can I drop off some different things? Can I run a workshop or a little seminar on nutrition at these places to bring some of my clients in so that their business develops a little bit more, and then maybe we have a partnership with our supplements, or maybe other gyms or libraries, or there's a lot of places around. But You got to just look at what's around you, look for the opportunity by asking, going in and saying, hey, how are things going? Can I do something to help? A great thing is there's a barbershop locally around here. They were on like Shark Tank and everything for their brand, and a location just opened up around here. I went in, I immediately bought the highest tier membership package thing that they had. I'm going in, I'm making social media content for them by myself. And then I asked them like, hey, can I host like a self-care strategies workshop here? They said, yeah, that's great. 10, 15 new people in, they're trying out the services. I give my talk. We're hanging out, having a couple of drinks and eating some food. I brought them a whole bunch of business, and I'm just making content for myself. The owner comes to me, he's like, hey man, I really love what you're doing. I'd love to bring you on as like a partner type of thing here. We can work out a contract. And then boom, there's a new opportunity and new clients and things like that. But I just looked at what's going on around me, looked for an opportunity, went in to provide the value, have all my preparation stuff done ahead of time. And then boom, people are like, oh, Rob, you're so lucky you get to do this and do that with these people. I'm like, yeah, well, I put in a lot of work for that.
Working, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's an action step that you took. How can entrepreneurs listening to this, or anybody who's people who want to be a boss of their career, how can they take immediate action on what they've heard today?
Yeah, even if you're not an entrepreneur, but you're looking for more opportunities in your normal job, it's looking around. What are the different projects that you're working on, your business is working on, people around you are working on? And if you don't know what other people are doing, have a conversation. Book like a lunch or a coffee. You can do Zoom coffees. You can do in person, go out for drinks, invite people to dinner. Having these conversations, getting some insight into what projects other people are doing, and then just offering some help. If they have a business or something, purchase a couple of their things, give them to your friends or whatever, just helping them out. Or if they've got an event going on, or if they're working on a project, is there some way that you can kind of help out or connect them with somebody else that might be able to help them out, providing some sort of value? Because you never know what's going to happen and coming back around tenfold next time. It's just, it's opening up, looking for that opportunity, and it's all around. So you just got to have those conversations and ask the questions. What's going on?
Yeah. So what's one piece of advice that you can offer entrepreneurs who are feeling stuck or want to grow, or they just need some kind of inspiration?
Yeah. The best piece of advice that I could probably give might sound like a universal, or maybe, I don't know. It's pay attention to what works for you. Because there's a lot of different things, a lot of different ways to do things. And until you put your own unique spin on it or approach to it, it'll never truly be your way. And then when you do, it'll be aligned with you. So things will be moving so much smoother. So you might be like, okay, well, how do I know what works for me? Go back to that reflection practice or something where you can develop some sort of check-in with yourself. Businesses have the annual reviews or quarterly reviews with employees. Listeners here might even be doing some of those with their own employees, but how often are you doing it with yourself? Check in, see what works for you, and stick with it, or do more of that and lean into that a little bit more. And that's what's going to help kind of move the needle forward. It starts with that reflections or that awareness. So really pay attention to what works for you.
That's good advice. Really great advice. Rob, man, I appreciate you being on. How can people get in touch with you and just really get what you got to give?
Yeah. Interested in chatting with me or just checking out some of the content or staying up to date with what's going on with me, best place to find me and get in contact with me is social media. Most likely hanging out on Instagram and LinkedIn the most. Just at Rob Tracy is the handle on social media. Ask me like what's going on with you, what's up with me. But most importantly, if you listen to this episode, I'd love to hear what you thought about that. So chime in, let me know. And so we can kind of continue going forward. But also from there, my podcast over at survivingthesidehustle.com. It's great opportunity, great source for people to relate to other entrepreneurs at different stages, educate themselves on tips and tricks and strategies to kind of level up to the next world from other expert entrepreneurs other than myself. So it's another great place to hang out.
All right. Perfect, Rob. Thank you. Keep having difficulties, technical difficulties. So it's all right. It's all right. But I'm just going to be transparent. Your last name is pronounced
Tracy.
Tracy.
Tracz. Yeah, it's a little weird. I'm not sure if that's how you're actually supposed to to pronounce it. So this is just what I've been told.
Just being 100% transparent here, man. Because, we saw your last name. I was like, oh, it's Rob Tracz, but it's Tracy's. All right.
Yeah, it's all good.
So for all your listeners that are tuning in, you can always get information on Facebook at the Thrivable Journey page, on Instagram. And as we always say around this time, make thriving your new normal. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care.